Commissioner Elwell.
Announce how many are present.
7 present.
We've arrived at comment. Public like to address the board. Seeing not, Mr. Overton, your meeting.
Thank you. First, let me say that I did receive calls from Commissioner Leitner and Commissioner Mahoney, and to tell me they wouldn't be able to make the meeting today due to some personal challenges. What? Oh, no. Well, yet at the same time, we have
Good morning. We'll go through just a couple steps this morning and then field questions for you. We'll go over our analysis and recommended project scope, and what we're looking for today is just a head nod about whether to go forward or to stop in our tracks, but we do have a recommendation for you. So this is where we started with after the Honeywell energy audit. You want to switch it over to a computer? Thanks, sir. And hopefully you can see this on your computers a little better. This base package on the top here is $2.4 million. That's envelope and lighting parts of the building. That's going to be interior, exterior. When we talk about the building envelope, that's making sure that we're sealed, and Honeywell can speak more to the specifics of that. But that cost right there yields $188,000 a year in savings. Well, it's not quite a year, but there's a rebate there that's $76,560, and then utility. I'm sorry, actually it is $188. It's $188 plus a one-time savings of $76,000 because we'll get rebates from those improvements. So, and then in the operational savings, that's like switching out light bulbs or switching out parts on the improvements they made. We'll save across the county another $11,000. So that's money that we can actually take out of the budget, both of those line items, across the board for parts, and then the utility savings, that would be actually reducing energy costs, whether it's electric or gas. We had them break that out just for Lifeways and for the medical care facility. That really needs to be a decision that comes from their boards about whether they want to participate in that. So we'll be meeting with them, I believe some today, Lifeways today, and if not medical care facility also, while Honeywell's in town. So we'll talk with them and let them take that to their boards to see if they want to go forward. And then if you go down to, we have a list as project add alternatives. The hope was that we could do all these things together, but as we're going to show you today, we don't really have the money to do that. If we chose to do that, that would come at significant cost to services and or employees that we have. But the HVAC improvements to the county tower building, $4.7 million, and then the courthouse first, 4.7, and then the tower building at 4.3 million. There's some one-time rebates there in the total of about $70,000. But the annual savings for that is 59 on the tower building and 73 on the courthouse building. That would take a long time to pay back, longer than the lifespan of the equipment. The lifespan of the equipment is about 20 years. To pay that back, $4.3 million at 73 and 59,000 a year would be a very, very long time. The window replacement also, it'd be $1 million, but only a payback of $4,500 over the, annually. And then the elevator controls, which is something that needs to happen. We actually have the tower building elevator in the 5-year plan. I'm not sure we've figured out how to balance the funding on it, but it's in the plan that has to be done. The tower building one is more imminent than the courthouse building, but they are both original to the building, so it's a challenge to keep them going. So this is just the way I looked at how, if we can do this. In our capital improvement plan, in the public improvement fund, that's the building side of the plan. The other side would be the technology and vehicles and equipment. But just the building side, we have $919,000 planned for 2015. This big bump in 2016 is due to the airport, and I think maybe also some elevator money in there too. But then 1.3 million, and then $500,000 and $776,000. We probably average yearly about the $800,000 a year for that on the building side of the capital improvement plan. So Honeywell did the cash flow analysis of the bonding cost for that to do all of those things, which total 14 million plus, would be $1 million a year, roughly. A little bit more, that includes fees for administering the program, but it's a little over $1 million a year. The energy savings there, and you see in 2014, is $214,000 a year, and then it goes up from there, $350,000. So you can knock that off of that public improvement, or that bonding cost, because that's savings. The other, so then I went through the capital improvement program and said, well, what can we take out of the capital improvement plan because of that we're doing all these improvements together. You can see there's not much that we can take out of the public improvement program. $22,000 the first year, $105,000 the second year. Very little that could actually come out in, because one of the things is the plan that we're showing for in the $14 million is a 20-year plan. Our capital improvement plan is a 5-year plan. So to make a long story short, we can't, there's the savings there, there's not a cash flow to pay for it. In the first year, we would need $800,000 in cash to be able to make the bond payment on that improvement. In the second year, it would go down about $600,000 a year thereafter. You know, we're a human service-oriented business, and so what that means is cutting positions, people. That may be a possibility when we get to that structural balance in 2016, as we've been planning on, but right now, that would have to come out of positions, and therefore services. So the projects that don't cash flow, that's the HVAC. Go ahead.
Adam, before I go any further, or you go any further, I go back to the very first page. It says Honeywell Project Builder. The total estimated cost is $14 million.
Mm-hmm.
The total estimated savings is $403,000. According to my calculations, payback is like 36 years.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the point we're making.
Yeah.
There are some of these that do have a good payback on them, that were within the lifespan of the equipment that we're using, but as a whole, it doesn't. And so that's where we're going. So thanks for making that clearer. So these are the projects that don't self-fund. That's the HVAC. Now, if we were to build the HVAC systems for this building, the courthouse today, it would look very different than what we have right now. Because right now, we've piecemealed it. We've done it, honestly, floor by floor, or maybe a couple floors at a time. When we did this floor and the second floor, those two may have been tied together. But mostly, we've addressed one floor at a time. That's where the efficiency savings, if we were building it today, we would build one system for the whole building, and you'd see that energy savings that they've projected here. Same thing with the courthouse. They'd build it very different today than what we've developed over the many years. The problem is that cash flow, again, doesn't have a 20-year payback, so, which is the lifespan of the equipment. The other two pieces are the elevators in the courthouse and the tower, and the window replacement. So that's $11 million out of the $14 million of recommendations. So this is another sheet put together by Honeywell. If we were to, they call this cost avoidance, if we were to divide that $14 million over 15 years, expecting that everything would be done within 5 years of the 20, and we'd see some of the benefit, they're saying that average cost would be $1.4 million. I don't know if that's so much relevant or germane to the decision today, but it is worth saying that there's a lot of things that we're going to have to address in the next 10 to 15 years that we have to find a way to do, one way or another. Let me move on to this scope of work. What you're seeing in the green checks is what we're proposing with Honeywell's help to do. That's the lighting, the envelopes, repairs, and the water conservation. The stuff in the red is what would be done at the Lifeways and Medical Care Facility. And then the blue stuff is what we would remove from the project scope, which is the HVAC and the elevators and windows. So if you look at just the cash flow of that base project with just the envelope and lighting upgrades, it's $2.4 million. The bonding cost for that would be $184,000 a year. And the annual savings from that would be the first year $114,000 because you wouldn't complete all of them, and then the second year $188,000. And you see it has a positive cash flow right away the first year and moving on. So it makes a lot of sense to do this. It pays for itself. And we have similar cash flows for the Lifeways building. It, again, pretty close to paying for itself the first year, but definitely a positive cash flow year two, and where they're actually making money on it for $333,000 of improvements. And then the medical care facility, $432,000 worth of improvements, again with positive, less positive cash flow on this one, but definitely over the lifespan of the loan. And then this last grouping is the cash flow of that $11 million. You can see we're in the red the whole 20 years of that lifespan of that project. So that's why we're recommending going with just the envelope and the lighting replacements right now. So what we have to do next is work out some of the agreement details with Honeywell, their administrative costs, the financing mechanism. We're meeting with Lifeways and the medical care facility to discuss with that and let them take that to their boards so they can make a decision about that. But our recommendation today is to move forward with the envelope and lighting parts of the Honeywell plan.
If I may, Adam? If the Board of Commissioners were to choose to do other projects over the next 2 years with end-of-year surplus, is there a way that some of these can be picked out and prioritized going into this process so that way we can have them on that list?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because it's something I was going to say, and they're welcome to come up and speak to this too. But what we're in our conversations with them earlier this week, we want to keep those projects available. Working at the financing mechanism through them, or if it's to be able to cash flow, they can help us with that, or the actual project implementation. So the answer is yes, we can. Probably the elevators are going to be the first and foremost on our mind because there's potentially down the road a safety issue. I wouldn't say there's a safety issue now, but down the road surely if we wait too long. Yeah, it's particularly convenience and ADA compliant. We need those elevators to remain ADA compliant too.
Adam, my question is in regard, if the Board of Commission chooses not to move forward with this, are Lifeways and Medical Care Facility allowed to do so?
Do you want to speak to that, Dick?
Yes, they would be allowed to move forward, separately. if they wanted to. That would be not a problem. And to follow up on Chairman Shotwell's thing, when we do these projects, we recognize that, we've done all the work to get it to this point. And for instance, when we did Lenawee County and Calhoun County, we started out with first phase, which is similar to what you guys will be doing here. And then in subsequent years, over the last, 5-6 years, they've added more phases to that. We've been able to do about $10 million of work for Lenawee and about $8.5 million of work for Calhoun County. But they did it similar to how you would be doing it here, is that since we've done the work, and then as times get better and budget money frees up, then you can add those projects in and phase those in subsequent phases.
Thank you. I do have one other question.
Let me just add
Yes.
to that. I think when we execute an agreement, we want to make sure that's in the agreement that leaves the flexibility to add those projects down the road.
Right. My second question is the actual work that's performed. I assumed it's subcontracted through you, and you would use local employers?
Yes, yes. We would be in charge of managing the project, and, we would be basically bidding this out to contractors to, give them the opportunity to bid on that work and try to use as many local people as possible on the project.
Thank you.
I'll give it a shot here. If we agree to phase one, as you called it, phase one, does that, in some respects, force us into a position of going to eventually, let's call it phase two, because we've already put the effort and everything into phase one?
No, that would be a separate decision that you would make afterwards on a phase two if you wanted to. It would be up to the board at that time, whatever time that might be. It's just that Honeywell is willing to do it, but whether or not the county would want us and authorize that, that would be up to the board at that time, whatever year that might be. We would be hopeful that we would show you good results, because our plan is to actually exceed what we're showing here today, and that you'll have good results. And then once you see that we do what we say we're going to do, then you'll want to do, subsequent work with us down the road. But you are not locked in to having to do that with Honeywell.
Question for Adam. If we proceeded at all, should it not be Lifeway's or the medical care facility's decision to decide if they want to upgrade their buildings?
That's right, and that's why we're meeting with them, to let them take it to their board, so that, we talked about this. I don't think we're in a position to require them or demand that they do
Right,
this. It's their
right. I can
their
see-
board's decision.
According to my figures here, 7.8 years of return on Lifeways and 12 and a half years at the medical care facility. We went through this exercise a few years back, and I guess my opinion is, with technology evolving as it does, it might behoove the county on our buildings to wait another 5 years and see where the cost savings would then be with any new technology or innovations that come along. And when we look at the county's facilities, looking at 35 years for payback, it don't seem like it makes a lot of sense.
That's only if you're looking at the $14 million project. If you're looking at the $2.4 million, it funds itself in year one.
Okay, thank you.
Adam? Is it accurate that the operational savings would be, for instance, facilities not having to go around and fix lights all the time because you've grouped all those together, done it differently? Is that where the savings is?
It's not in man-hours. That's in actual equipment, that number.
Okay, so is there a place that man-hours are factored into this equation?
No, it's not. We talked about that, and the reality is that we're so far down with facilities that there'd be some benefit in saving times and replacing ballasts and
Yeah, that was my
other
point mainly.
things that, I mean, we could quantify that if you wanted to, but there's a backlog of workload.
Well, I was going to say, there's opportunity costs. We'll have opportunity to do other things that truly need to be done that are not getting done.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to quantify it, but just, I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that we are going to be saving manpower costs too, we hope anyway, with some of these, so.
Gentlemen, would one of you two answer this question, please? Commissioner Duckham brought up the option of waiting 5 years and then pursuing it. Could you give me the pros and the cons for that?
You know, I guess it's a, you know, technology is always going to move forward. In fact, the very first project that I did in the government market here in Michigan was, some of you may have went to the Michigan Library and Museum that's in Lansing. That building was a 2-year-old building. And we went in, that was over $50 million. It took the legislature 7 years to budget the money to get that building done, but then they created the budget and they went out on the plans that were 7-year-old plans, and it took them 2.5 years to build the building. So by the time they actually built the building and occupied it, it was a 10 years time of technology that had passed by. So when they got in there and they saw that their energy bills were high, we did a project with them and we saved them over $300,000 just for one building. You know, so the point is that there's always going to be technology, but what you do is, if you delay the decision and never get on board, those 5 years of savings, if you take that $188,000 times 5 years, you know, that's, what is that? That's a lot of money that would be that would be thrown away. It's just like, kind of like flushing it down the toilet. You'll never get that money back. And so our philosophy is, we try to put in the best technology that's available at the time, recognizing that technology is always going to move forward. But by getting on board now, you're able to take advantage of that technology and get the savings into your budget and get the improvements that are needed for the facilities.
If I may chime in there too. By that thinking as well, if you're always waiting for the next best thing, you'll never do anything. Because 5 years from now, we could easily make the same argument. Wow, you know, a few more years, technology may change again. You know, the fact is, we can do the lighting and envelope, and frankly, do it for no cost to the county. It'll pay itself back and provide a lot more opportunities, if you will, for facilities to do things other than replace light bulbs. That's not to say they won't come out with a new light bulb. They probably will. But in the meantime, we've done the right thing.
Well, using that philosophy, then the proper thing would be to do this exercise every year.
I'm sorry. You could look at it every year, but you still got to do the math. And if the math were to show every year that you could save another $188,000 a year going forward, I would agree. But you got to do the math problem, and frankly, the math probably wouldn't hold up.
Well, if we looked at it 5 years down the road, we would save what the new technology would give us, plus would still save the $188,000 we'd save now.
No, we've lost 5.
No, we'd double our savings.
You don't know that.
But you're going to get double the efficiency in 5 years with new technology. We did this 5 years ago.
We don't know that. We're going to get
Well, case in point, I guess.
Yeah. I wish it were that way.
If you're just looking for what we're looking for, I'm supportive of following your recommendation for what it's worth.
That is kind of what we're looking for. We're not really looking for official vote, just a head nod here, because we want to move forward and make some I'm sorry, another question over here. Make some, create the documents and the plans for moving forward, if you will.
Because just comments, excuse me, my feeling is if we don't start a program now, we're just farther behind. It's like maintaining fences on a farm. You do it once every 20 years, or you do it a little bit now and then. I remember that when I first got on the Grass Lake School Board 150 years ago, or whenever it was, they superintendent had taken maintenance completely out of the budget for 5 years, and we had to, it was terrible. There was nothing that was done, and we were so far behind, we had to get a millage passed and stuff and dedicate it to building improvement and maintenance. And so anytime we can improve the efficiency of the operation and save money for the taxpayers, it's a good thing to do.
Mike, just one last question for me. If we don't follow the recommendation, what do we owe Honeywell?
Was it 10,000? What was the number? Do you guys remember?
It was, I think it was about $80,000 to do the audit that we did. There'd be no charge for that, obviously, if by moving forward with some type of project, so.
No, the question, I believe, maybe I didn't state it correctly. I thought the question was, if we were to choose to do nothing,
Yeah,
we owe Honeywell some money.
right, it's about $80,000.
No. How much?
It's about
8,000.
80.
80,000.
It was, the charge was 7.2 cents a square foot for all the facilities that we audited, which when you take your total square footage by 7.2 cents, it was roughly around $80,000.
That was the figure I thought I remembered. So,
But again, there's no charge for that moving forward. When you move forward, then we're not charging anything, for that. So,
a necessary point, though, for us to remember. So, I can't hear you, Carl.
I do have some slides that Honeywell, a lot of them are the same, but there are a few extra points in there that, with the board's permission, I'll bring to the dais.
Yeah, go ahead, that'd be fine. Although, Commissioner Rice wanted to know what Rick Shealy thought. Rick, you want to come up and tell us what you think?
Good morning, everyone. I believe that Adam's analysis was spot on, and we really would benefit from doing the stage one of this process, and recommend that we move forward with it. Gosh, that's plain and simple.
Thanks, Rick. Actually, that's all I wanted to hear. Your views on this, quite frankly, are more important to me than anybody else that's spoken, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, when do we expect to have something for us to vote on?
Next month.
Okay.
That's the end of the, no, there was just some of the benefits, I think, some of the benefits of doing it are, they had a slide in there regarding that, and there's just a couple other slides that's just there for your benefit. Yeah.
Support.
So we have a support, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we have discussion about 911. As all of you know, we've been having this conversation on and off with various individuals, not only in our county, but in adjacent counties, Hillsdale, as well as Lenawee. At this time, Lenawee is prepared, as are we, to recommend that we move forward with a study committee, and that would be an equal partnership number of members from each county, the two counties, Lenawee and Jackson. And the makeup we're looking for is the county administrator, a deputy administrator, 3 commissioners, sheriff, the dispatch supervisor / manager, a law enforcement representative, so a local police chief, as well as a local fire chief representative. And it's, of course, we're looking at an ad hoc committee, so generally speaking, following policy, that would be the chair's prerogative to make recommendations and confirmation by the board. And again, the idea behind 911 is the idea is to provide a cost-effective, equal to, or if not better, service than we currently do today. And there is, I believe personally, truly some economy of scales that we can garner by collaborating with multiple counties. Questions, concerns?
First of all, I'm very pleased to see that you're looking for input from a variety of sources, including the fire personnel and emergency dispatch. I think that is says a lot to the sincerity of moving forward with a variety of opinions.
Thank you. I would just add, too, that while Hillsdale thus far has indicated that it's not something that they're particularly interested in, we are leaving the door open. Both myself and Marty, the county administrator in Lenawee, believe that truly they could benefit by this collaboration, so we're going to leave that door open and continue to make them aware of meetings, and hopefully at some point they will choose to partake in the study. Nothing wrong with asking the question and doing the math.
Yeah, I've been contacted, and probably everybody has, by the Fire Chiefs Association, I guess it is, and they would like greater representation. Of course, I imagine everybody would. But in that light, I was wondering if it maybe we ought to have a fire chief from each county, because the counties are not really similar. Okay, all right. So we will have 2 chiefs and two views. Yeah, okay.
I would contend that the Chiefs Association should select someone from their ranks to represent them. Commissioner?
Mike, it's fair to say also that these, what was the question? Right. Mike, my question was going to be, assuming that we establish the committee and Lenawee does too, I assume those will be open to the public, so people could come in, and I would also assume there'd be a public comment period. I think there's required to be.
Yeah, I would think it would be
yeah.
run like a regular meeting. We
Right.
have discussions
Okay.
and so forth. Because these are rather large committees. If you look, there's 10 people from each county at this point. That's 20 people just on that committee, and if Hillsdale were to join us, it'd be that many more. So, other questions, concerns? If not, we'll leave it to the prerogative of the board, our chair, to nominate folks for a committee, appoint people for a committee, assuming you're all agreeable.
Any other items from commissioners? Administrator Overton, could you give us an update on where we are on budgeting, and will you be presenting something in October to this body?
Yes, we should have the calendar and everything prepared to go at that point. I'm not sure what level we plan to present in October. Mr. Brown could perhaps assist us in that endeavor.
October would be right in the middle of when we're kind of collecting input from department heads and elected officials, but we should have, by that point, done some of our homework on the revenue and expenditure forecasting that we
In
can bring forward.
In the past, the Board of Commissioners have met once to give you direction. Do you plan on taking that input, or are you just going to return with the 2016 budget completed?
That October would be a good opportunity to receive any further feedback. What we're doing, though, really is just adding an additional year to the currently adopted budget. And we would end up revisiting 16 in the fall of 15. But surely we can work in an opportunity to provide feedback in October.
Any other commissioner comments? As chairman, I'd like to make you aware that the Committee for Cascades, taking down the wall, has been meeting regularly. If things go the way they look like they were going to go as of the last time we met, we may be having the wall down here before December 1st. We have an opportunity that's been offered to us from local contractors to step up and help us move some dirt. We need to do some soil testing out there, and Adam's going to be returning with the engineering on what we have to do, so I want everyone to have their rakes and shovels ready to go come spring so we can spread topsoil and plant grass seed out there, so we can have an exciting beginning to the 2015 season at the Cascades. Any other commissioner? Adam?
And I don't know that we've publicly announced that we received a $50,000 grant from the Weatherax Foundation also in the last week.
Commissioner Lechka?
I don't remember which county it was that sent us a resolution on the navigable waters definition from the federal government's new, is it Sheboygan? Okay. And I believe, as I read that, the Cascades does fall under that thing. So should we, as a board, take a position against their, I guess as farmers, expanded control or takeover, as the agricultural industry is talking about?
Yeah. Would you be willing to meet on Monday after committee so we could meet with staff and see if we can get that put together for a week from Tuesday? Thank you. Any other commissioner comments?
So I pulled up on board docs, and what I found in December of 2013, Personnel and Finance approved $86,400 for the investment grade analysis with Honeywell.
That was me, and I backed out.
I'd like to challenge the administration to come back with their analysis, or at least the recommendation on where we're going to go with the county fairgrounds study and strategic plan, please. We're coming up on the end of the year. Seeing nothing else, we're adjourned.